Welcome to the Spunky Spirit Podcast. I'm your host, psychic medium Carrie Muggs. This is where we learn all things spirit, everything from spiritual gifts, awakenings, ghosts, aliens, and starseeds. Nothing is untouchable, but always fun and spunky. I am honored to be on this spiritual journey with you, so make sure you hit the subscribe button so you never miss an episode. Welcome to this week's episode of Spunky Spirit. I am psychic medium Carrie Muggs, and this week we're going to talk about your intuition. Everybody has intuition. We all have our own, I call it our own GPS system. So it's just like when you're going traveling in your car and you turn on the GPS system and it tells you where to go. We each have our own GPS system on this journey, and it tells us instinctively where to go. Nobody else does. It's inside of us. Now, what happens is we get to be insecure, and we don't trust our own intuition, and we don't trust our own judgment. And sometimes we let other people make decisions for us. And so it's so important for you to tap into your own divine guidance, your own intuition, and listen to it, and not think that you're crazy when you hear it. Now, the way that we can tell the difference between intuition and worry or anxiety is intuition doesn't come with any emotion at all. Anxiety will. Anxiety will come with fear. Anxiety will come with questions. Anxiety will come with worry and stress about how things are going to work out. And intuition does not. Intuition is just like it comes. It just is there. There's no emotion attached to it. So, for example, if you are going through some experiences with your daughter or one of your children, and they had a bad day at school, and then the next day at school, they're at school, and you're kind of worried about them. You're kind of stressed out all day, and you're like, should I call the school? Should I call her? Should I check in on her? And that's worry and anxiety. Now, if you're like in the middle of doing something like the dishes or cleaning the house, and all of a sudden you get this, call your daughter. That's different. That doesn't come with emotion. So I'll give you a personal example. When I was going through my first divorce from my first husband, there was some stuff going on, and I would not trust my intuition. I would always look for other things. I would think that I was crazy, or I would think that I wasn't accurate, and I'd always make excuses. And so I'd always worry. I'd be like, well, where is he at? What's he doing? Does he still love me? All those things are anxiety and worry. And one morning I woke up at 6 o'clock and I heard, go get a tape recorder. No emotion attached to it, nothing. So I went and I got a tape recorder, brought it home, and I was right. My intuition was right. And it just frustrates me because for so long I questioned my intuition. I knew. And that's kind of a hard example because that is something with lots of emotion embedded in it. That's a lot of emotion that we're feeling during that certain time. But another example is when I was in charge of a big event, a family event in my church, and I was doing Mr. Potato Head. I think we were doing it as families. I was having every family do a Mr. Potato Head, and we were having a competition. And as I reached for the toothpicks because we were doing real potatoes and toothpicks and candies and all that stuff, I felt, or I heard, don't get the pointed edge toothpicks. And I didn't listen, and I got them anyways. And that night there was kids running all over the place, toothpicks on the floor, and as you know, what probably happened. And I didn't listen. And so there's so many times in my life that I didn't listen, and I regretted it because I didn't trust myself. And there's so many times in your life that you do listen and you are so ecstatic because something beautiful happened, or you figured something out, or truth came out. So I just want you to think of your intuition as your personal GPS system that you can guide and direct on your own. Nobody else. You can have mentors, and you can have people that give you opinions, and you can have people that you watch and things that you like to watch people do. But at the end of the day, you get to make your own decision, and you get to do your own journey, and you get to be your own GPS system for your own journey. Now, everybody feels intuition differently. Some people feel it in dreams or in their gut. Some people see it in dreams. Some people feel it in their gut. Some people just know, or some people just have an all of a sudden you need to do this kind of epiphany. And that's okay. Everybody's different. And The difference between intuition and mediumship is intuition is more psychic. Psychic is more you read people, or you read your own body, or you read your own energy, or you read other people's energy. Mediumship is when you connect to the other side and when you talk to your guides or you communicate with loved ones on the other side. Now, your GPS system, just like on the car, the GPS system tells you where to go. So that's your intuition, that's your psychicness. Now, when Alexa or the voice of the Apple voice or whoever talks to you and tells you where to go, that's like your ancestors or your guides. They're talking, whereas your internal GPS is showing you where to go, and the loved ones or past loved ones or your guides are talking and telling you where to go. And the thing about it is about your GPS system is if you notice on when you're traveling, if you turn the wrong way, it'll reroute you. It'll reroute you to your destination. And that's what spirit guides will do, is if you do make a mistake, because no one is ever 100% accurate, right? So if you do make a mistake, your guides will reroute you. It'll reroute you to what your intuition is telling you or where you need to be. So if I wouldn't have gotten the tape recorder that day, then I would have been rerouted. I would have found out a different way. And so sometimes the GPS system helps you find the shortest way and the easiest way, but your guides and your ancestors will kind of tap in. So I hope that kind of explains to you what intuition is. And intuition is your personal guide. Now, mother's intuition is different. Mother's intuition, you can have feelings for your children, and it is real. Mother's intuition is so real. So mother's and parental intuition, I'm sure fathers can have intuition for their children too. So guidance and direction for your children is very, very important too. Now, the way that you can create your intuition or work on it or make it stronger or trust it or surrender to it is to be more aware. So be in the moment, be aware of your surroundings, and be in the moment. So if you are so stressed out about the past or so like dwelling over the past and so afraid of the future, then you're not living in the moment. And your intuition and spirits communicating with you are most important when you live in the moment. I cannot do readings without living in the moment. I have to be in the moment. I have to take all of the baggage for the day or all of the baggage from what's going on in my life, and I have to set it aside, and I have to live in the moment, because spirit can only talk to you when you live in the moment. Because that's when you're listening, and that's when you're aware of what's going on around you. So when you ask for signs and symbols, like let's say you get an intuition and you get a hit and you're like, okay, well, I want spirit to validate that. So spirit, I want to validate that that's true. Could you show me a sign? So if you're getting shown a sign, and the signs could be anything, like they could be, you have to be aware. You can't just say, show me a sign. You have to be discreet, or you have to say, I want to see 222, or I want to see a penny today, or I want to see a dime today. Because if you're just general, then you're going to see the signs and you're not going to be aware of them. You're not going to know you're going to question every sign that you get. So you need to be aware. Once you ask, or once you're testing your intuition, you need to be aware of what's going on around you, what's going on in the moment. And that's the only way you can be aware of your surroundings and know what's going on around you, is when you're in the moment, not stressed about yesterday and not stressed about tomorrow, but living in the moment. So that's one way you can test your intuition or practice your intuition. Another way is meditation. I know lots of people don't like to meditate. I know, especially people with ADHD. It's so hard. But I promise you, meditation is like the fastest and easiest way to connect to the other side and to trust your intuition. Now, you don't always have to just sit for an hour in silence. You can do it for 5 minutes. You can, while you're driving to work, turn off the radio and sit in silence. While you're blowing drying your hair, you can sit in silence. While you're taking a shower, you can sit in silence. So those times can be meditation. Also, you can do guided meditations where people guide you, and you can have a journey while you're meditating. And that's what I had to do at first when I first started meditating, because my brain was all over the place because of my ADHD. So guided meditation works, and you can find guided meditations for anything, to manifest things, to tap into yourself, to tap and connect to spirit guides. You can find lots of meditations. In fact, I'm going to start posting or putting meditations on this channel or on my podcast. So probably next year. The next way you can do it is to automatic write or journal. You journal all of the different times that you've had intuition, or you've had communication with spirit, or you automatic write. Automatic writing is when you set a timer for 5 or 10 minutes, whatever you want to do, and you can play music, instrumental music, something that doesn't like distract you, and you start to write with an intention of what you want, like if you want to connect to someone on the other side, or if you want to tap into your intuition, if you have a question about what should I do about this, you have an intention, you write it at the top of the page, and then you start writing. And you write like I am, and then you keep writing M, until the next thought comes. And then you write the next thought. The trick is you continue to write, and it doesn't have to be speedily. You don't have to keep writing all the time. You can write slow, and you keep writing until other thoughts come into your mind. But the intention is to not stop writing. You keep writing. And at first, this might seem like it's your thoughts or your imagination or your creativity. But once you start to do it and you practice it a lot, you're going to realize that what's yours and what's not, what's your guides, what's your ancestors, and what's not, whatever intention you set. So automatic writing helps with intention or intuition. The next one is to practice it. Practice listening to your intuition. Practice every time you have a feeling or a gut feeling. And you know what? Who cares if you're wrong? We're not always 100% accurate all the time. So who cares if you're wrong? And just kind of let it guide you and practice it. The way you can practice it too is you can play your playlist, and you can kind of intuitively guess which song comes up next on the playlist. Shuffle it so you don't always know, but shuffle your playlist and intuitively let it guide you to see what is coming next on the playlist. And also too, when somebody calls you, you can intuitively guide you to say guess who's calling you, and see if you're correct. You can use oracle cards and kind of tap into your own self. I would suggest not using tarot cards if you don't know how to do tarot, but oracle cards are better. But to tap into your own self and to maybe get validation on your intuition. There's so many different ways that you can practice your own intuition. So I just think that it's so important to listen to yourself, to listen to, especially like when you're listening to what you're eating or things about your body or things about you. I mean, medical advice is always great. I'm not against medical advice. But if something's off or something doesn't feel right, tap into that. You just know. There's times in your life when you felt like, oh, I knew that, but I didn't listen to it. So really practice your intuition. Practice feeling your feelings. That's another thing too, because when you have intuition, there's no feelings involved. And anxiety and worry there are feelings involved. So practice when you have these thoughts, ask yourself, is there a feeling involved with this? Did I have a feeling? Did I have sadness? Did I have anger? Did I have worrisome? Did I have anxiety? Because a lot of times that will help you tap into your own intuition. And just know too that everybody can feel their intuition differently. So some people can just know things. Some people have visions. Some people have gut feelings or feel it. And a lot of times too, this is depending on what clair is your strongest. And I've talked about clairs before. Clairaudient is when you can hear things. And so if you're like a music buff, if you kind of hear a still small voice, and then that could be your intuition. Or if you feel something, you're clairsentient, that could be how you feel intuition. Or you just know things, your claircognizance, and that could be how you feel your intuition. Or you have a vision. And I have a daughter who does have dreams, and some of her strongest dreams, her intuition is telling her to do something or not to do something. So always get a dream book and see, sometimes if you do have lots of dreams, see what the different symbols in your dreams mean, and do a dream journal, because that means you're clairvoyant if you can see visions or sometimes you just see things. So your intuition is your strongest GPS system. It is a guide and a compass, and it directs you through this journey, and you don't want to go through this journey without it. Because this journey is hard anyways, and we have our guides and our ancestors who guide us and direct us, but our own personal GPS system is what really, really helps us get through it. So my advice to you is really learn how to tap into your own GPS system and know that this journey is so impossible without it. And so you need to trust it. You need to trust it, learn to trust it, and know that you are guided and directed by your own. There are outside sources that can help you, but at the end of the day, your soul, your GPS system is what counts. And so you need to trust that and guide and have it guide you. Now, if you are going through some of these awakening, feelings, and you want to learn more about intuition, I do have a class on my website. It's www.carriemugs.com, and it's called Awakening Your Senses. And it does talk about the chakras, and it does talk about your GPS system, and it talks about the clairs and signs and symbols and how to trust your gut and the protection. It talks about all of that stuff. So if you're just learning that stuff, this is perfect for you. If you're not, and you kind of know all this stuff already, then this is not a good class for you. But I am having more classes at the beginning of the year that are going to be more into connecting to the other side and helping you connect to your loved ones. And so watch for those coming up, because this is just basic stuff. And if you're more interested in the more in-depth classes, just know that they're coming, and more events are coming. Now that I feel so much better, and now that things are going in a whole different direction, just know that lots of things are coming up this next year. There's going to be lots of events, because I really want to, I know that my readings are kind of booked out there, so I really want to inspire and impact people in other ways. So if you love this video and you loved this, or you love this podcast, please leave a review, because that way more people can see it and it can impact other people's lives and inspire other people. So please leave a review wherever you're watching this or wherever you're hearing this. And just know that I would so appreciate it, because I love you guys so much. And I know that I wouldn't be here without you. So tap into your intuition this week. Really, really try hard. Practice, practice, practice. Do all the things that ask your guides to leave you certain symbols and watch for them. And be intuitive, be aware, practice being in the now, practice with your music, practice with all those things, because working on your intuition and working on your gifts, your spiritual gifts, is so important for this journey. So I love you guys so much, and I hope to see you next week.